So I've wanted to do one of these for a while, and well, I don't know how much of this you guys know about me, but like it says, this is my life story and kind of the path I've taken to, end up where I'm at in life. So you guys know that my brand is threefold. That came from the belief that whatever energies you put out into the world shall be returned into you threefold. Whenever I learned that, I realized why I'm at where I am in my life and how to get to, or actually in my case, how to get back to, that dream life, where you want to be in life. I say get back to because it took me 3 or 4 years of sabotaging relationships and friendships to realize that I already had it. What I was looking for, I had, but instead of working on it and sticking with it and letting it grow, in most cases I was just selfish and ended up poisoning those, relationships all the more. So if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Mark Sanders. My name is actually not Sark. I just switched my letters. That way it's easier to find my channel in the search bar. But anyways, I currently live right in the middle of the United States in Kansas. I was originally born in Germany. I'm full-blooded German. I came to America whenever I was 2 with my mom and grandma. We moved to Florida, and we lived there for quite a few years. My mom actually remarried and had 2 more kids, so I had half siblings down there. And I remember vaguely playing in sandboxes. I remember we kind of had like a farm. I just remember having chickens. So I guess that doesn't make it a farm, but we had chickens. And I was so young. I don't remember very much of it. There's a couple other details that I definitely remember that I won't get into in this video. But at around 6 or 7 years old, my grandma and I started moving around in her van. It was just a little Chevy van, and we began moving around and living out of that. I remember a couple of different places. I know she helped here and there. I remember her helping at farms one time. I remember her helping at a locally owned grocery store that she helped at one time. And towards the very end, there was a storage unit that the guy was letting her sell and keep the money from. The lockers that had already closed down. And, we were out there, and there was a house across the street, and I guess they'd seen me playing around, or playing outside, and they knew that I was school age, so they called and reported me not going to school. Anyway, police came, took me, and my grandma was actually on illegal green card, so they deported her back. My mom, since she married, I guess she had her stuff taken care of, and mine, I actually didn't realize this until years later, but I was actually illegal as well. But because I was a juvenile, they put me still in foster care. They put me in DHS, and I was actually naturalized at 18 years old. When I was 18, I had dual citizenship. I was given the choice between the two. Well, I say given the choice, but I actually wasn't given the choice because it was defaulted to US because I was actually incarcerated on my 18th birthday. But back to going to DHS, I still remember sitting in that place and being so scared. I barely spoke English. And I was, I want to say 7 years old, just sitting in that place. I remember them trying to explain like a family to me and telling me that that's where they were going to put me. And it made no sense to me because they just took me from my grandma, the one that was raising me, right? It made no sense what they were trying to do. Yeah, after sitting there for a couple hours, I remember it being really late. They loaded me in a car, and then they took me to Even at the time, I remember thinking that it was a really nice neighborhood. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was definitely a subdivision. Um, Cody and I have talked about it now, and we both laugh at the fact that we grew up in a subdivision with cul-de-sacs. And if you guys don't know what a cul-de-sac is, then well, I know you guys didn't grow up in a subdivision. But I remember how nice of a place the whole neighborhood was, even as a kid driving through it. And we pulled into this house, and of course they were super welcoming. You know, what else was I supposed to be? But yeah, they welcomed me, and I only had one little backpack, and I remember it, but they told me about it a lot. They said that I wanted to show them my pocket knife collection and my lighter collection at 7 years old, whenever I first got placed in their home. I remember that note going over too well. They, of course, checked it out, made sure it was all of them, and then they confiscated those from me and kind of quickly replaced those with other toys, that were more suitable for a child, for some reason. After that, there's a lot of... It speeds up. I remember going to school, getting enrolled in school and getting tested. And I remember taking the test, but I don't remember anything from it. But I know that I tested like 3 grades below, but because I'd have to do the math to make sure I'm not lying here. I had to have been 8 at this point. Yeah, I had to have been 8 at this point when I was being tested. When I was supposed to be in 3rd grade, I tested at kindergarten, and they ended up putting me in 1st grade. So I was always 2 years behind. Even after I did catch up, I was even in gifted and talented, which never did much. It was just like an extra field trips, which I guess was cool. But we tried to get me caught back up. I remember that a few times. But that was just, there was always some complications to that. But elementary school wasn't, anything special. I don't remember anything other than, feeling super alienated. Yeah. It was probably the age, but I think everyone feels a bit of that. We just do when you're growing up. You're not like everyone else, and that's life. You have to learn to work with other people. You have to learn to coexist. And that took me some time. I actually, if I have yet, didn't do that until well after finishing school. So now fast forward a couple of years, my foster parents had a couple of kids here and there be placed in the home, but always just for a month or two, and then they'd be on their way back to their parents or whatever. I always kind of knew the idea of being adopted. I do remember, even as a kid, I remember sitting there watching TV. I don't remember what we were watching, but I just remember hearing the kid on the TV say mom and dad something. And I turned to my dad, and I just said, "That's what I want to call y'all." And he was like, "What?" He was kind of confused. And I said, "Mom and dad." So I remember making the choice to call these people that I was just placed in their home my parents. Even now, that's still a really big memory for me. They did their best. They couldn't have kids of their own, is why they were adopting. And that being said, now looking back, I wonder if that was the best dynamic, simply because, I'm a dad, and if you don't, I'm a dad. Having a kid teaches you so much. And I think it's meant to be that way, but you learn patience, you learn how to work with the kid. and I was already 7, 8 years old when I was placed there. They didn't have that first year or two with me as a baby to be like, okay, no, this is just having a kid. I don't know. I wonder if maybe they weren't as prepared for what it did to their own goals. Because that's something that I've realized, again, with my own life. When you do have a kid, your relationships, everything is about them, you know? All your decisions, all your goals are oriented towards best case scenario for, you know, your kid. And like I was saying, I don't think they truly understood that. I don't think they had that time frame that parents normally have to understand that. Anyway, I'm gonna speed through some of this stuff here. Their marriage became a bit rocky, a lot rocky. My dad was on the road a lot. I was given too much authority over my younger siblings, especially in a time where I was going through a lot of questioning, a lot of self-doubt, questioning, just in general, as a teenager. And I did some very stupid things. You know, I can't excuse any of it. All I can do is, you know, learn from it, admit it, and learn from it. So, I don't think, again, this is the video. I think I'll sit down with my younger siblings one day and talk about it all. If they're willing, then, you know, it is definitely something that I want to do. You know, we've definitely talked on the phone, but it's still something that needs discussed in person. Anyway, things then became really hard for me. Obviously, regret as a kid, not knowing what, you know, what you did even, was pretty rough. At 17, I went to juvenile jail, whatever you want to call it. I went to, it was just juvenile jail. I say just juvenile, but it wasn't adult charges, is why I say just juvenile. I did 3 years, right at 3 years, between a couple different detention facilities in Arkansas. And those are also stories for different video, if at all. Nothing horrific happened in there. It's just a very dead, hard time, you know? I don't like going there a lot in my mind. I did a lot of thinking, a lot of reflecting, but I was also still really young. It's not something I talk about much, but, you know, it is there. 3 years gone is, you know, something pretty serious, especially to someone who has felt, you know, behind in life in general. You know, I felt like I was robbed of 2 years of high school. I got my GED when I was in jail. So regardless, I would have graduated at 20 years old. I would have graduated as a senior at 20 years old had I not skipped. I was in, right before I went to jail, I did enroll in courses that would have allowed me to graduate sooner. But had I continued the route I was at, I wouldn't have graduated until I was 20. So I still felt 2 years behind. Now I lose 17 to 20, 18 to 21. Talk about some developmental years to lose. You know, and then when I came out, definitely showed that I was still a bit immature, still very immature. I didn't know how much I'd tell in today's video, so forgive me. I don't like dwelling on a lot of this stuff, but I do feel like it's something that you guys would benefit from hearing, and it's something that I think I need to get better at telling in general. I've been feeling a calling to speak more, to tell my story, and well, that starts with learning how to verbalize it. So we're gonna fast forward through my jail. Nothing significant. I got my GED. I got a little bit of college credits here and there. Not much else happened. Whenever I got out, they released me to a halfway house, and there it was horrible. Like, just designed for you to fail, designed for you to stay in there, because the owner of it was just making money off of it. I ended up getting my hands on a cell phone, and I called my dad, my adopted dad, and he was here in Kansas, where a town over from where I'm at now, and he was getting close to getting married. I think he just proposed, and he said that he'd help me out. He brought me up here with him and just got me out of the halfway house. About 6 months go by. I'm now working at a pretty good factory, and he's on the road. He was a land surveyor, and he's constantly working on the road, so he's back and forth. And well, him and his fiance, that ends, and now a couple more months, he's not coming around as much, and my girlfriend at the time gets pregnant. So that kind of throws the wrench in the last of him and I's relationship, and he quit coming back to Kansas. That was really hard for me for some time. I've reached out. I don't really know what else to do. Flash forward another 6 months or so, and my son's born, and his mom and I, are pretty strained. I mentioned earlier that I was still in a factory at this time, and just made things really hard on her when I really didn't need to. I wasn't ready for a kid, and I definitely fell short on several aspects. But long story short, we didn't work out, and well, then over the next few months, there was a summer where we partied a lot, and don't miss any of that. Drinking, partying, that's not my scene. I go to the bar now, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. That's right around the time when I wanted to start doing YouTube. I think I started the podcast channel first, and then I started my garage channel. And I did those for some time and kind of destroyed some friendships because I wanted people to work for me. I also met my now ex-wife at that time, and we were together for 2 years until I messed that one up as well. And we had everything. We had, like I said, there's a song that I listened to. I might put it in here. We had it all. We had the house, the car, the dog, the whole family. We had it right, and I messed it up. Now I'm just trying to get back to the point where I can provide all that again. But again, this is kind of just to call attention to what you guys are doing. Learn from my mistakes. Don't continue doing the stupid shit. Sorry for cursing, but if you're realizing that you're doing some of the stuff that I've done, or whatever, if you see yourself in some of these stories, then make those correcting actions to change it. That's definitely what my channel has evolved into, is learn from my lessons. Don't be me. I created a short last week sometime, and that's what it's called. Don't be like me, because life is too short to sit there and regret all those mistakes that can pile up on you so fast. Yeah, so I guess we're pretty close to current. That's when I wanted to start YouTube. I pushed people really hard. I pushed my friends really hard at improving, at being the best them, because I knew that's what I needed to do. I wanted my friends to do morning routines with me, because that's what I felt that I needed. That's what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to be like me and be goal driven, when in all reality, all I had to do was do that. All I needed to do was do what I wanted them to do, and they would have ended up following. They would have ended up, or not, right? And they would have been themselves. But me trying to force it killed a lot of it. And I see that and I regret that, but I've also learned from that now. So again, learn from me. As far as where we're at now, well, day to day, you guys have seen it in my vlog. I'm rebuilding. I'm here for my son whenever I can be, as much as I can be. We go outside. We get in the sunlight. We go to church on Sundays, which I love how much Zion loves. And it's just that simple. You just keep moving forward, and you learn from your mistakes, and you have somewhere that you want to end up. You have a set goal. I know what my goal is. And I've known what it was for some time. But because I wanted better, wanted more, was greedy, I'd ruined it for myself a couple times now. So like I said, you learn from the mistakes. And that's what this channel's here for. It's me sharing all my mistakes with you guys. I'd love to have some conversations with you guys in the comments. I'd love to have some actual conversations with you guys one-on-one. I'm actually doing coaching calls. I know it's what every YouTuber does, but I'm actually a personal trainer. So if you guys want to do, fitness coaching, or just want to talk to me about life, go ahead and check out my Patreon. That's probably going to be the easiest way to get in contact. I'll put the Patreon link down below, and I'll put my Calendly link, so you guys can go ahead and schedule a free consultation. And we'll talk more there. I don't want to be a whole ad on this video, so I really enjoy talking about my life. I really enjoy the platform that I'm starting to realize that I've been given. I was recently reminded that I've just got to have faith in where I'm at in my life and in how it's all going to turn out. So that's what I'm doing. I just have faith that it is all for a reason. I've always said that. I've always said that everything happens for a reason. So let's find out what this reason is together. I appreciate everyone who's watching. I appreciate everyone who's watching this super long video. I warned you guys at the beginning, but I hope it gave you guys some value. I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember that whatever energies you guys put out into the world shall be returned unto you threefold.